Excellent. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday. Wednesday means at this time of the day, I go live with Oz and Chelsey, talking about all things to empower you to make better decisions about your health and well-being. Thanks for joining us, Kelby. I saw you waiting there in the wings very suspiciously, but I will get you to mute your microphone. Actually, I'll just impose a mute on you, mate. It's already done. Welcome to today's live, and today we will be speaking about how you can naturally boost your immune system. So full disclaimer, I am currently suffering from a very low immune system and am here feeling about 80%. So my comrades here, Dr. Oz and Chelsey Jean, will be conducting the majority of today's conversation.
Oh, darling.
It's okay. It is what it is, which is why it's really important that we talk about this today. Welcome back. If this is the first time you are joining us, welcome to our Wednesday live. We go live every single Wednesday on Facebook, live streaming into private group called Boob Camp. If you would like to join Boob Camp, there's plenty of people in that community. It's an amazing community. Over 10,000 people, yeah, Chelsea?
11.5.
Woo! And everybody there is interested in learning about how to empower themselves to make better decisions for their health and well-being. But if you are watching this on replay via one of our other channels, if you're in Chelsey's Circle group, if you are on Oz's podcast, or if you are on the Loz Life YouTube channel, please hashtag replay, even if you are rewatching this in the group. We love to see that you are watching and engaging and learning some things from us here today, because we do this for you guys. Time out of our days, time out of your days. We want to make sure you are informed and educated as best as we can. But today's conversation is all about immunity. So my name's Loz. I'm a healthy habit coach. I help people eat, breathe, sleep, move, and hydrate more effectively so that they can find more performance, focus, and confidence in their life, and hopefully some more happiness, health, and vitality as well. I am somebody who suffers from multiple autoimmune conditions, have overcome some of life's greatest challenges, and continuously battle a sea of emotional changes and dysregulated immune system on a daily basis. But I will introduce the other people here today, the superstars for today. I've got to my left on the screen, I'll start with you, Dr. Oz. Would you like to give a little intro and then lead into Chelsey?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Oz. I'm an integrative clinician and a biohacker. And combining natural supplements and technology, I help people to reach their peak performance and overall health.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chelsey Jean, and I am a naturopath who loves everything about the lymphatic system. And we're finding that there isn't one condition that can't be related to lymphatic health. So it's my mission to educate as many men and women that I can about how important the lymphatic system is, and also teach us easy 2-minute sequence that everybody can do at home to unblock stuck lymph and get your immune system and body feeling so much better, and you can then take control. So yeah, the lymphatic system and the immune system are really tightly engaged with each other. We have 15 liters of lymph in our body where the immune system hangs out. So you've got T cells and B cells and antibodies running around in your lymphatic system. And, the lymphatic system will transport these immune cells around to your body. So a good example, I'm just going to lead with maybe a little controversy here. A little example is if you fall over and hurt your knee. And you might touch your knee, you might just bruise your knee, but it's up to the lymphatic system to come to that area. So to transport the immune system to that area where it can suss out the problem, it can remove the wastes that's there, and it can bring all the nutrients to that area. So the lymphatic system is really important to be able to be transporting do it surveillance. How can it do that if there's blockages throughout your body? It can't do that really efficiently. How can you do that if you throw ice on it? If you throw ice on that area and slow down, the function of the lymphatic system as well. So I just want to say that ice is great for breaking bones, but if you have a look at it this way, the ice is going to slow down the function of the healing of your body. So the transportation of immune cells is in the lymphatic system. It has to happen. It has to get there. Those T and B cells have to be able to remove those pathogens, remove viruses, and then all of the good nutrients can get to the area of concern. So that's how the lymphatic system generally relates to immune. And can I just say that takes time, right? That takes time in your body. The lymphatic system, if there's blockages along the way, it takes time to get to that area, those T cells and those B cells that have to do the surveillance on that pathogen and find out how to decode it and break it down, takes a little bit of time. So we live in a society where everything is go, 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 and we don't give ourselves enough time to rest and for those cells to be able to litigate, to get rid of the infections and wastes and toxins in our body. So I just wanted to say that the body is trying its best. It's really trying its best, but that whole theory of chicken soup and putting your feet up, really does help when it comes to immune health. And there's lots of other things that we can do as well to supplement that, but there's a sort of a background on how the lymphatic system works. How's that, guys?
And so I love that you mentioned that, Chelsey, because yesterday, Oz and I hung out for a bit, and he was working specifically on my lymphatic system using heat, right? Weren't we, Oz? And so I think Oz, because talking about immune system, and that's one of your areas of speciality, right? Like it's all about improving immune function and reducing inflammation and toxicity. So what are some of the things that you've sort of noticed in your clinic, Oz, when we're talking about people like me?
Yeah, so I think in my case, what is more important, or not more important, but what is really important is to actually determine the cause of the problem. So why is your immune system not working properly? Two of the main reasons, there are many other, but two of the main reasons that I always find here in the practice are, number one, inflammation, number two, stress. Yeah, and inflammation can be caused by diet, by stress, and by many other factors. But those two things are really important when we talk about immune system. They affect directly how your immune system is going to respond. Then knowing exactly the level of inflammation that you have in the body and understanding how are you coping with stress, and if you have some sort of, for example, neuroinflammation that is causing that the stress levels go up, or you can deal in a more kind of difficult way with complicated situations, is important. So one of the things that I do is do a test for inflammation. That will give me a lot of information about the lymphatic system, how the immune system is working, and then we can give some supplements. In this case, could be high doses of omega-3, homeopathic medication, depending on what we need, obviously. But knowing the origin or the cause of the problem is, to me, is always the first step if you want to improve your immune system. And then yes, there are a lot of theories, like put your feet on cold and hot and cold and hot and cold and hot, and is that really going to help your immune system, your lymphatic system? Well, it's usually your lymphatic system as well as your circulatory system work better with heat than with cold. And the reason why is, just see yourself in a cold day. What do you do with your body?
Yes.
On a hot day, what do you do? So it's exactly the same thing that happened with your veins, with your lymphatic system. If the environment is cold, your lymphatic system is going to do this, and it's going to try to keep as much heat as it can inside. Yeah. If it's hot, it's going to expand. So we have to understand that the lymphatic system, and obviously Chelsey is expert on this, but lymphatic system works with water. Works with the more liquid your system is, the better your lymphatic system works. So if you have inflammation, that means that your system is not liquid, it's more dense, it's more they call it like more like caramel instead of water. So obviously your lymphatic system will get blocked and won't allow all these proteins, all these markers, all these antibodies, all these cells to travel properly. So that's why, to me, dealing with inflammation is the first step when you want to improve your immune system, and dealing with your levels of stress.
Yeah, so
stress presents itself so differently. Hey, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So when you go to the doctor, the one thing that they do, which to check your lymphatic system, is they will check your lymph nodes in your neck. Okay, if you're lucky enough to get a doctor who will actually touch you, they will check that inflammation around your neck and those blocked lymph nodes, and then that will indicate, oh look, there is a buildup, there is a backup. Your lymphatic system isn't being able to deal with the virus or the pathogen or whatever is going on, and there is a blockage there in your lymph nodes. So at least the doctors do recognize that, but we've got 300 more in our belly of lymph nodes, and 300 through our chest. So it's definitely that inflammation that we have to look at, and yes, what causes it. But sometimes people, we know, we go and we go and we go, and then you're planning a holiday, and then what happens? You get sick a lot of the time, right? Does your body know that it's going to get a break? That all of this, sometimes getting the flu isn't a bad thing. It's your body detoxing and getting all of that crap out of your body too. So when somebody's has got the flu, I'm like, okay, well, let's celebrate it. Let's get all of that junk out. Let your body rest. Make sure that you're putting great nutrition. Make sure that you're putting water into it, but let your body rest and let all of that gunk come out. Yeah.
And I think that's a really key point, is that people don't realize that when we get sick, it's normally a symptom of something that sits below. And when we're talking about immune system and stress, and people who are listening may not understand this, but your body has different types of nervous systems. So when you look at your central nervous system, we have our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous system. So our sympathetic nervous system is a nervous system component that basically looks after your rest and digest function. So when you're sleeping, you're detoxifying, you're digesting food. We also have our parasympathetic nervous system. Sorry, I got that wrong. So sympathetic is fight or flight, parasympathetic is rest and digest. So when we talk about those, they are slightly opposing systems that work together, but people don't realize, like, stress will find its way into your body in various methods. So if your fight or flight response is elevated, so if your sympathetic nervous system is elevated, so you're constantly feeling that anxiety response, and so you might find like your heart is racing, you're getting the sweats, and you've got a situation where you're feeling quite anxious all the time. You may be in a relationship or at work in a situation where every time you go into that circumstance, you start to notice those types of symptoms arising in your body. That's a form of stress. Likewise, when we look at the parasympathetic nervous system and the rest and digest part, if you're constantly exposing yourself to bad water, crappy sleep, you're not drinking enough of the right stuff, you're not eating properly, you're eating things that are triggering you to have other responses in your gastrointestinal tract, that is also a form of stress. And people don't realize just the stress that they are implicated in from poor eating, poor sleeping, lack of movement, lack of hydration, and not enough sort of sunlight and all of those types of habits. I mean, that can actually wreak havoc on your body and have an impact on your immune system. So all of those things matter. And when you are a little bit stressed, you are more susceptible to what, guys? Immune compromisation, right? Immune system. So you're more susceptible.
Like was saying, is you tighten up. You don't breathe deep. You don't have fun, right? Where is the joy that that life brings, you know, waking up with passion and feeling great. And like Louise Hay says that problems with the lymphatic system is a disconnection from joy. So, you know, we're not having as much fun when you are stressed. Mainly you would reach for alcohol to then, so you can then go and have fun, right?
Yeah, and it's not always the best way. So, you know, I guess if we look at, you know, some of the common symptoms that people have other than elevated lymph nodes, which I currently have, if somebody is finding that they're constantly getting sick, you know, other than enlarged lymph nodes, what are some of the other symptoms? I mean, I know with me, like with when I get sick, and I have an overactive immune system for those listening. So I have an autoimmune disease. So I have a slightly different problem where my body attacks itself and is actually overactive, and then that makes me very tired. And I think a lot of my biggest challenge is I need a lot more rest than the average person to try and recover. But I like to try and push against that sometimes because I get a lot of energy and I want to do something with it. And then I end up on this sort of yo-yo, which is why eating, breathing, sleeping, moving, and hydrating are so important for people like myself. But, you know, other than this, what are some of the other symptoms that people can maybe be experiencing? Also, actually, I'll go to you first. You know, when people present themselves and you suspect that they are having challenges with their immune system, what are some of the things that people can look out for? Because I know, like, a lot of the time people are like, oh, I have a headache, so I just take a Panadol. Or, you know what I mean? Like, so what are some of like the telltale signs that somebody may really need to work on building that immune system back up?
I think here, one thing to understand is that the lymphatic system is way too attached to our digestive system as well, right? And I think you should say something last week about how the immune system starts actually on your bowel. Now, have to understand that most of the symptoms are going to overlap between digestive and lymphatics. So you can get fatigue, you can get headaches, lack of concentration, that in most cases you could say, oh, that's coming from the bowel, but that also can come from the lymphatic system. Like, this is an overlap. In my case, obviously, the other one that I would say mostly for women is cellulite. Cellulite is a consequence of a pure lymphatic system. Now, you have to understand that having a pure lymphatic system doesn't mean that you're going to get sick all the time with viruses or bacteria. There are many other things that can happen. And your body is one of the ones that are going to react, like excess of body fat could be because of the lymphatic system not working well. So there are many things that could be happening that that if you go with a practitioner, maybe will tell you, no, this is just, you have to lose weight, but they don't go behind the scenes and say, okay, what else is happening there? Have to understand that all the systems work together. We are a whole thing. We're not, what I tell all my patients is that I don't see your stomach coming on one side and your head coming from another side, and one complaining about one thing and one complaining another thing. Like, all of them come together in a person. You are the person with all these things. So usually, if your immune system is compromised, it's almost sure another systems will be compromised, like digestive system, endocrine system, which is your hormones, your circulatory system. And that's, for example, when I talk with my patients about the stages of chronic disease, that's my stage 2 of chronic disease. All those 4 systems get affected in some way. Some of them more, some of them less. It depends on every person. Every person is different, and every person will show different symptoms or a different way to show the disease. But it's really difficult, I think, on my case, to say it's just one symptom coming from the lymphatic system, because all of them work together at the end of the day. If one is affected, like if you have pure lymphatic system, like pure immunity, it's going to affect your digestive system. If you have a pure digestive system, it's going to affect your lymphatic system. Yeah. So that's why I go back to the part of getting to the root of the problem. So what was the root of your problem? Was that more because of stress? Was that more because of your diet? Was that more because of exercise and excess of stress, like physical stress? So we have to get back to that part of where are all your symptoms coming from? And then you can address each particular one depending on where it's coming from.
Yeah, and I find Oz the same. And with some clients, like, we have to go into repair mode first before we can do anything else. So like, their body isn't going to absorb. If I can say, okay, yeah, let's put you on vitamin D, vitamin C, and like, let's chuck in this all of the mushrooms as well. Let's give you the whole kitchen sink. But if, like we said, their stress levels if that's not going to change, you know, it's not going to work. But if their body, if their stomach isn't going to absorb all of these great nutrients, then there isn't, you know, a point to that too. So yes, we have to stop putting the environmental toxins in. Some people just need a great big hug. You know, some people, I've had clients come in today that are going on different fertility journeys and bits and pieces. And, you know, she needed to nurture herself. And she didn't, her appointment was actually tomorrow, and it was blah, blah, blah. So, but she still, I said, I just needed to give her a big hug, and she just needed to nurture herself and do some self-care. And like, sometimes just having a good talk to someone, working on their head, seeing where their brain's at is enough to make a massive change. You don't have to go on all of the vitamins in the world and this and that first. We can start with a conversation. We can start with, what stories are you telling yourself? You can start with what's going on at home. And that's the difference when you come and see and work with us, all us three. We all get to know our client on that personal level. And, you know, we've got this detective mode that it turns up, you know, that underlying thing. Yes, we do it in some tests as well. But there is, you know, when you look at someone, you can see what we need to work on first. And sometimes it is a beautiful and emotional change that just needs to be recognized in that person. Agree, Loz?
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of situations, you know, people do carry the burden of stress out of fear and shame and guilt. They're scared of judgment. And so they sort of walk around with this emotional baggage for a long period of their life, if not a lot of their life or most of their life, because they're scared to tell people about the challenges that they're facing, especially when people have, you know, relationship problems or problems at work, where they're concerned that if they do share those problems, that they might be reprimanded. And so this is where, when you're, you know, looking for some assistance, and look, sometimes people don't want to turn to like the clinical model. They're worried if they go to a psychologist, or I've even heard stories where people have an employee assistance service available to them at work, but they're actually scared to use that because they're worried that if they report it, the situation at work, then they're going to get fired. And so then people walk around with this chronic stress that builds up because they have no way to express or communicate that stress to somebody. And so, you know, between the three of us, we are all equipped with skills to be able to have those sorts of conversations with people and work out what those sabotaging patterns are that are keeping people stuck. And sometimes, just as a starting point, guys, we can, you know, look at the physical symptoms and the symptom picture that people present when they see it. You know, they could be losing hair, their skin could be bad, they could have poor digestion, their sleep is up the creek. But ultimately, when we have that conversation, I know in many times when I'm doing, you know, chats with people for the first time, you know, a lot of the questions that I ask are really simple questions, but they elicit really challenging responses for a lot of people. And if I don't sort of get an avoidance of eye contact, hair standing up on the back of people's necks, or crying or tears, a lot of the time I don't feel like I've done my job as a coach, because it's just unpacking those layers of, I guess, superficiality that a lot of people present in, you know, the current era. And I find that a lot of the time when you can break down those barriers, it does actually help people manage their stress a little bit more. And I know that sounds silly, but it's great that you mentioned that, Chelsey, because I know Oz does it as part of homeopathy. Yeah. I mean, that's a standard part of your clinical practice, right, Oz, is asking people about their emotions. And a lot of us aren't conditioned to even know how to explain what we feel sometimes, but there is an inherent link there. So, you know, if you are looking to improve your immune system, guys, maybe it's starting with something that isn't as obvious. And maybe you've listened to this and gone, oh, actually, I was expecting people to say you need to take more zinc and more vitamin C and get more sunlight, and all of those things are, you know, valid. But ultimately, if you are walking around bringing and hauling behind you massive amounts of emotional baggage, no amount of freaking saunas, ice baths, meditations, red light therapy, yada, 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 are probably going to solve your problems. You've really got to get to the root of why you're suffering inflammation in the first place, why your immune system is compromised. And if you're continuously finding yourself going around in circles or yo-yoing all the time, then maybe explore some other options. Insanity, I always say this, definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. If you're living the same life, hanging around the same people, going to the same job, doing the same things, and you were expecting to improve, unless you change the recipe or you change the ingredients, nothing is going to change. And maybe looking at speaking to somebody like Dr. Oz or Chelsey or myself, and having those conversations can be a really great starting point. That's why we're here, guys, here to sort of broach these subjects with you from very different perspectives. And so are there any sort of closing remarks in regards to, I guess the immune system here from either of you? Chelsey, I can see that you go like, yeah. ready to have a conversation.
Loz, we know that when we don't have to soldier on. Okay, so mine is to acknowledge early. Don't wait until you are dying before you know when you are, like, if you can feel a tickle in your throat, if you feel like something. We've all been highly alert and with all this COVID stuff, now, and to be scared of sickness. If you need to cough. Okay, if you know how to hydrate, you know how to do the things, you have some common sense and rest, catch it early, and then go inwards and go, okay, have I been working too much? Like, ask yourself the questions of what's going on. Have I been drinking the clean water? Have I been eating good foods? Like, ask all of those questions to yourself first, catch yourself, and then go, what can I do? Because you know what to do. Like, everybody knows what to do. We don't need to tell you what to do. Then if it's something that is deep and like you need extra help, of course, then seek the advice of a natural health therapist. Oz?
And Oz?
Yeah. I would like to add, look, most people is scared of doing something new because they think that it's not going to work. They have done so many things. What makes you think that this one is going to work? Look, if you have been dealing with chronic disease, with chronic problems, with chronic pain, like, you have to keep trying until you find the right treatment, the right protocol, the right strategy. I see this, for example, with business. That you can have a business, run a business, and have a marketing agent that didn't give you any results. That doesn't mean that, okay, I stopped there, marketing doesn't work. No, it's working for many people. It's just you finding which one is the agency that is going to work for you. So it's the same with this. Like, maybe you're going to your GP, it's not working for you, it hasn't been working for you for years. Now, okay, what else can you do? Like, I went with this other one, it didn't work for me. Okay, what else can you do? Don't stop there. Don't think that you have to live in pain the rest of your life. Don't think that you have to live in chronic disease the rest of your life. Now, I'm not saying that maybe by miracle we can get rid of the whole illness, but there's going to be improvement. There's always can be improvement from wherever you are. So don't stop just because you're scared of, or just thinking that this is not going to work for you. That little thing that is in front of you could be the answer to many questions that you have, and give you much better results than anything that you have done ever before. So just keep looking and keep trying until one of them gives you the answer.
And what a great way to end. And as we say every week, guys, question everything. Just because something hasn't worked in the past or has worked for other people, it doesn't mean it won't work. It will work for you. And it doesn't mean likewise it won't work for you. So, try different things, explore your options, be informed. The best thing you can do for your health is to learn and grow all the time. There's lots and lots of new things that are coming out too all the time. And a lot of information that we thought was true sometimes isn't down the track in hindsight. But we really hope that you've learned something today just about inflammation. And please reach out to any of us. You can reach out to us on our channels. You can find us all anywhere, but also in the big boob camp group. If you want to join the boob camp group, you can join. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a free community Chelsey has created over a few years, and now we're sort of in that community. I would love to see you there. We're all there trying to foster, healthy relationships with ourselves and others, and to educate ourselves. But remember, if you are watching this in replay, #replay. Yes, I have had a costume change. I have to go now do a talk to a whole heap of occupational therapists about gadgets and gizmos from my mobility equipment business, which is the other thing that I do. But guys, it's been great for you to join us here today. I'm Loz. I got Dr. Oz and Chelsey Jean here. We will be back same time, same place next week talking all things health, well-being, and learning how we can inform ourselves to be better at creating unstoppable lives. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, everybody.
And, ciao for now.
Bye. Bye.